Left Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
Climate change continues to be at the forefront of global concern, and voters want to know how candidates plan to protect the environment while ensuring economic growth. Ace, what will Trump and Harris do about climate change, and whose plan is best for Mother Earth?
I struggle with this one, man, because they ain't got a lot of stuff out there on it. Both of them really ain't said anything about climate change other than, well, no, like they ain't got no laid out plan or nothing. I was trying to see if I just catch a little tidbit or something, but nothing. But we know that Trump's, falling in line with Project 2025, which he says he doesn't know anything about. Mm-hmm. And we know what Project 2025 is going to do. What their plans to do if he gets in office, and is to take away FEMA and go after the EPA and all of that, and just completely dismantle that. Which means, and if you want to talk about, we can talk about the food too. The FHA, they got a written down plan to where they're gonna get rid of those agencies. If they do that, then lo and behold, man, we ain't gonna have anybody trying to take care of the earth. And we already know he runs big business. He wants to drill with the oil like that. And a lot of that, they want to get away from the protections of climate change and just environmentalists and all of that stuff, so they can be able to drill and just make more money. We kind of know that's kind of the playbook that he comes from. I mean, Harris, if you look at Harris and you go with her and the Biden administration, what they did, they came out with something called the New Green Deal, where they're actually trying to work with the environment and build green jobs and go towards upgrading us or updating us and getting America out of not a lot of the sustainability initiatives that we have going on to kind of preserve the earth. And you can see some of those things working right now. If you do that. I mean, where I work at, we talk about sustainability also. So a lot of companies are talking about that. We feel if Trump wins, he's going to roll that back. He's going to get rid of that. He got rid of that. It was another deal when he first
the Paris Accords.
No, well, Paris Accord also, but it was a deal that he did when he did an executive order. He got rid of a green initiative deal when he first was president, right off the back. Biden bought it back, and that's how we started getting into sustainability and everything again. So, not a real definite plan that they have, but if we go by historically what they do, Trump's going to pretty much, gut anything that has anything to do with saving the environment, for the simple fact he wants to drill and he wants to make sure that businesses don't have any of those things in the way they'd have to pay extra for.
Yeah, and he's also very big on deregulation. Mm-hmm. And I'm great with businesses doing whatever they need to do to make money, as long as it's not getting people sick, as long as people aren't getting cancer. When you have fish dying because the factory is right next to them and they got spillage and everything, that's bad for the public. You have a situation right now where hurricanes are getting worse and worse. And you know what we're not doing? Because even people who are climate change deniers cannot deny the fact hurricanes are getting worse and worse. Cities are ending up underwater. We're not hurricane proofing any cities. We're not trying to implement any of that because it costs money. Now, if you have a Democratic administration, they're going to invest money in those types of things. A Republican administration is just probably not going to do that, unfortunately. And like you said, with the speculation, both of them have kind of danced around it. But you can look at Trump's previous administration and see what he did. You can look at how he handled things, and you can see, that's what he did. He deregulates, and he has said repeatedly that he's going to take away all the regulations that Biden has put in place because he doesn't think that they're right and he doesn't think that they're fair. He's talked about getting rid of FEMA. Mm-hmm. He's talked about getting rid of the OSHA. These types of things. And these are things that would definitely hurt the environment. A lot of the things that he's doing is a consolidation of power. Mm-hmm. So it's him and a few other people in Washington that are going to be in charge. The problem is you're not going to have safeguards, and you're not going to have enough experts if you only have a few people in charge. And when it comes to the environment, when it comes to climate change and that type of thing, you need a lot of people researching, because it's not something that's simple, it's complex.
And I like we talking about the Republican administration. I mean, we're under one here in Texas, and we're horrible at the environment down here. It snowed like once out of every 100 years, and we shut the whole state. How you shut the whole state of Texas down? And I tell people, say, you got to understand how big this state is. For the whole state to be shut down because of a snowstorm, that's crazy.
And then they blamed, and the irony is this, they blamed it on the windmills. They got windmills in Holland.
Yeah.
They got windmills in North Dakota. Do you know how fucking cold it is in North Dakota?
Yeah.
In Holland?
Yeah.
If the windmills work there, they should work here. That was a lack of planning.
Yeah.
That was the state administration being cheap. Okay? And we have to do better. We have to do better by our people. And, the environment, when you look at the environment, that's something that's, that is healthcare, really. When it comes down to it, because if you don't have a good environment, you're getting cancer because you got contaminants in water. You're getting all sorts of diseases and stuff because there's stuff in the air and nobody's taking care of stuff. But it's all the same. It's all connected.
It was funny. I was talking this week about like beaches in the country. And they're talking about Texas beaches. I thought beaches is horrible. We got oil rigs out there, and our water's murky. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Compared to they were in Virginia Beach, and it was beautiful here, and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah. And I said, I go to Florida when I want to go see a pretty beach.
Exactly. There ain't none here.
I said, I don't go to the oil rigs in Galveston. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's funny, like how with an indicator that you guys are kind of talking about, like about that a state or the country cares about climate change is our infrastructure. So although like if you look at Biden and Kamala Harris, like from an infrastructure perspective, like Biden did a bunch of shit for infrastructure.
Yeah.
And this shit is going to help us in the future. And Kamala Harris intends to continue that work, right? But the infrastructure is for things that are going to help decrease the negative impacts that we're having on our planet.
Yeah.
Right? Windmills, solar, you know what I'm saying? Different types of transportation options out there. This is the indicator that, hey, we care about the climate because we're trying. People don't look at the future like they're supposed to. They're looking at right now and today. Like, hey, what are you going to do today? We can't just snap our fingers and fix climate change today. We have to introduce new technology, new types of transportation, new types of energy and things like that into the mix to help us decrease the damage that we've already done to the earth. And so this looking at infrastructure tells you, like with Texas, you brought up Texas. We still got an old ass electrical
grid.
system,
Yeah.
the grid that we using off some bullshit, while the rest of the country, to your point, it gets cold in other places, but guess what? They use a national grid. And guess what? That's working out for them. Like, why can't we get on that? Because we don't want to change. We don't want to fix things for whatever reason. And we don't want to move towards a better, I guess, way to protect our earth. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, and that's basically saying Greg Abbott and them dummies up there. That's why, they just want to do that. I was thinking it was funny this week. I was putting out my garbage. We got like 3 trash cans, and I was thinking my granddad, he'd be pissed off with all this shit and have to separate the trash and this and that. But that's what you're talking about, the growth. And I'm pretty sure back in the day, someone said, hey, you know what? We need to separate the trash in his day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they eventually did it. So now we separate our trash for what? For the environment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, and that's how we got to look at it. Like whatever we're doing right now, our grandkids are probably going to be the ones who are going to benefit from that climate change initiative that comes over. So, yeah, I didn't find a lot on both of them, but going on their history, I think we know how that's going to play out.
Yeah, and something else that we really don't look at is this. The financial implication of not innovating when it comes to clean energy.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you look at China, they're coming up with all sorts of clean energy plans. And in Europe, houses have the solar panels on them. In Germany, like one city in Germany, it's mandatory. If you build a house, it has to have solar panels. Okay, these types of things, people are building solar panels. Somebody's got to buy them. Somebody has to make them. Why is it that we're not making stuff like that here? You know, why is it that we're not taking the things that would be good for the environment? If we want manufacturing jobs, why aren't we looking at how to innovate to make things better here? Because we have the technology to do it here, but rather than to say, okay, we're going to be like we were. And it's funny that he always says, make America great again. In the 40s, 50s, and 60s, we were always the innovators. We were always the first ones to put something out. It's not that case anymore, because now we look at stuff and you know we were like, oh, well, that's not that big of a deal. That's not important. And we're going to look around. The world's going to pass us by.
You know, and that brings me up to a story, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, but if I'm correct, Rockefeller, I think he made his money on oil, right? The kerosene lamps and stuff like that. So when he made his money, he was doing it. When Edison came out with the light bulb, he did everything he could to try to block that out. And I think that's America's problem now.
Yeah.
Like the old money that's already rich is making their money. They're fighting against clean energy, which makes sense. You know what I'm saying? For everybody else, but because that's where their money is, they're doing everything they can do to block
This
it.
is the same old playbook.
Yeah,
like for every industry that's established, they try to poo-poo or whatever you want to call it, the new industry. Same thing happened with cars. People who made horse and carriages were like, oh, cars are dangerous. They're killing people. Every time like an accident happened, they would say bullshit about cars and how dangerous they were and how they're nuisances and blah, blah, blah. I mean, with any industry that comes out and new, the established one that's making all the money is always going to try to kill them. And I mean, I think that's kind of like a similar thing that's happening in our country today, because we feel like there's a certain maybe majority that feels like they are being, I think that they feel that they're being pressured or maybe fear from another minority becoming the majority.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a topic about immigration.
Yeah.